Hi, this is Farrell. Welcome to my video and YouTube channel. And this is page 9 of issue 2 of Robot Todd. And yeah, here on the little warm-up drawing that I do, I've been doing these on most of the pages, this little in red Sharpie, just do a little quick drawing of Todd. And I normally do something that I'm kind of comfortable with, just like him standing or whatever. But I thought, oh, this page, he's kind of have like an upside down pose, like his head's upside down. So I thought, oh, I'll do a little a drawing of him, like to prepare for the page. And it kind of came out sort of crappy. So at some point, I actually do another smaller drawing there. But this page, it came together pretty quick. See, there you go. I had to do one that I felt a little better about. Anyway, yeah, this page came together. The pencils took a lot less time than normal, I think, just because I was doing a little more free-form drawing. And then the second panel, I have that onomatopoeia, that sound effect. Blamf, kind of similar to the Nightcrawler noise. But yeah, I can't even remember what that is now. Bamf. I added an L. Yeah, so there's pretty much the finished pencils. And this one, I started with a brush first because I felt like that I wanted to hurry up and get into painting that first panel. I had left like a lot of stuff that I wanted to resolve when I went in with the watercolors and stuff. And then I first started doing an ink wash, and then as I was inking, I decided I'll just do the letters with a brush instead of the Pitt pens that I usually do. I did the lettering, then Robot Todd's thought bubbles with a Pitt pen, but it was just because it was right there, as it was like there's just a few spots on that monster creature in the first panel that I wanted to add some black to. And as I was doing that, I just was like, oh, I'll just go ahead and do these letters. And I get like kind of bored with that. Then I'd switch back to doing little washes and touching up certain areas, and then adding those kind of like energy lines. And I just have kind of like a faint explosion lines, I guess. They're not, I mean, it's energy, but it's like, yeah, for the second panel and the explosion, I wanted to just kind of had like just a few of the gremlin creatures' heads and arms kind of like, sort of fading out, and like the explosion, you can kind of just get an idea of what's exploding. And yeah, there's the inks fairly finished, sort of. I added a little bit more inks later on as I was coloring it, but I kind of like the way that drop shadow on the lettering too. It's kind of like sort of like a 3D effect or whatever. So yeah, then I just kind of went back in, it looks like, with the inks and added some shadow underneath the creature, the walking creature. And yeah, left the sort of the smoke or steam or whatever that's coming out of the creature's mouths, left that just the white of the paper, and did a little outline around it. And yeah, so this is like you can see in the first panel that I even have it kind of coming off panel, the little speed line there of the grenade entering the creature, making contact with it, and there's like little ripples of flesh around it. And then it's like the sonic grenade that was mentioned earlier. It's yeah, the second panel is the explosion, Blamf, and then the third panel, I have these like little wavy lines coming, like even the walls are sort of bending, so you can see like the effects of like the sonic boom and like little chunks of the creature flying everywhere. He's gonna be okay, reassemble or split up into different dudes again. But yeah, there's like these little stress cracks forming on the glass from him hitting it and the explosion. And yeah, I had the idea for the next page of Robot Todd having like this X-ray vision. You can see like through the walls and the pipes and all the tons of gallons of water that are going to come rushing in here. And so I thought like, oh, I'm going to have him do like, he just kind of notices it in the fourth panel. And I don't know why I put that little line in there, the walls cry out. I was just going to have it blank, you know, like have him just kind of like have like a symbol or something, but I just felt right to do that there, so I put it in. I might regret it later, but I can always Photoshop that out and just put something else in there. But yeah, so I just kind of got the idea as I was painting to, it wasn't, I don't even think it was in the thumbnails, but the idea to do some kind of like kaleidoscope thing coming out of his eyes, like he's noticing this thing and he's kind of seeing in different like spectrums or something, I guess was the idea. Without really over explaining it, I just kind of felt, again, it sort of felt like the right thing to do. Yeah, I like too that he's kind of like looking at it upside, like he's flying in the air. That was something that I didn't have in like the notes or the thumbnail. It just kind of sort of developed in the thumbnails. As you can see here, in the initial 4 panels, in the fourth one, I had him just kind of holding the suitcase above, you know, he was upright skating, and then you can see just right below that, I switched it to like, oh, it might be nicer just kind of close in on up on his eyes, upside down. It's like, use what you see me painting now. And that was like pretty much how I envisioned it. But then as I was drawing it, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have kind of like a line going from his eyes, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna have these like, yeah, this sort of like spectrum-y, you know, rainbow thing coming out of his head, just to sort of, I guess, symbolize what he's about to get into X-ray mode, and see through the walls and, you know, figure out what the danger is right before it happens. But I'm also thinking about adding like another panel of the wizard who you know, we've seen in previous panels, because once this explosion happens, I thought it would be nice to kind of cut away to him. Like, we see all his like monitors or his little orbs that he looks through or go blank. Like, he's like, what happened, you know? But yeah, he'll be back too. So I think this is kind of getting close to the, this is the last round here, I think, of colors here. I'm just kind of, this state looks pretty decent to me, but I just kind of wanted to refine the little pieces of flesh that was coming off, you know, in the explosion, and kind of accentuate this sort of like wavy sonic thing coming out of there, out of the epicenter there, as they're like, you know, skating away or flying. I guess they're all sort of just flying through the air at this point. Yeah, looking at it now, I still haven't even done the colors that are coming out of his eyes here, the little spectrum vision. Looks like I'm doing it right now, and it was sort of like a trial, and I didn't do like a color wheel or anything like that, or create like a palette that I wanted to use. It was just sort of like what felt right, and there's a few of them that I just kind of lightly did a color, and it was like, okay, that's not enough, or I don't really like that color, and I kind of try to change it or by adding other colors on top and washes. There was like a couple colors that I was just like, okay, I'm pretty solid that I want this. And then it was like a matter of just waiting, oh, wait till it dries, and then go, you know, get mostly dry, but then go in and just kind of around his head really delineate and try to do like a gradation on pretty much on all the different rainbow colors there. And then, yeah, it was just kind of going in and defining just the different panels. Like, I'd be working on one area and be like, okay, let that dry. I'll go up here and touch some of this up. And then the Blamf thing, I pretty much like left that alone after I initially did it. But the panel itself, a lot of the ink lines felt like a little too oppressive, so I went in there with a lot of the Pro White and just tried to lighten up the gray that's around the sort of explosion thing. And that is the finish right there. I have a Patreon too. It's Feral Dow. Thanks for watching the video. Bye.